Hello there, and welcome to my series The Unfinished Arcs of Star Wars The Clone Wars. In this video we will be covering the fourth unfinished story arc, Yoda and the Bad Batch on Kashyyyk. Please note there will be spoilers for The Bad Batch show. Back in 2014, this was the sixth story arc to be left unfinished, but due to the final season in 2020 completing both the third and fourth story arcs, Ahsoka's Walkabout and the Bad Batch, this one has now become the fourth. Taking up production code 617 to 620, this story arc would have been the third story arc of the full 20 episode 7th season and would have acted as the mid-season finale before the Xmas air break. Airing as episodes 9 to 12 of the original planned 7th season, this arc would have aired around late 2014 had production continued as planned. This story arc would have continued the story of Clone Force 99, whose first story arc would have aired 2 arcs before this one. The story arc also gives us a somewhat focus on Yoda. The story arc was written by then head writer Michnovetz, but sadly none of the directors were revealed to the public. Just like with every other unfinished arc, this story was also 4 episodes long as revealed by its production codes. This story arc came about as a way to explain Yoda's line from Revenge of the Sith, where he had good relations with the Wookies. The story arc involves Yoda, his very own clone legion, and Clone Force 99 going to Kashyyyk to help aid the Wookiees against a joint attack by Trandoshan and Separatist forces. During the 2015 Clone Wars Untold Stories panel, we got a brief story reel clip from one of the episodes of this story arc.
The key was not to fight nature, unless it fights you first.
In the clip, we saw Wookies and Clone Force 99 riding through the forest on Malayas before they are attacked by netcasters. A notable Wookiee included in this clip was Major Clausitto, who was a character named by George Lucas himself. The netcasters were based on the Kinrath from Knights of the Old Republic. We have quite a few design sheets meant for the first episodes of the story arc, production episode 617. These include Babwa Venamore, who was to be the main villain of the story arc, allied with the Separatists, a Kashyyyk waterfall exterior set piece, a Republic hoverboat, a Wookiee axe, and a Wookiee canteen. We also have a couple design sheets meant for production episode 620, which would have been the final episode of the story arc, showing us some different colour alterations for a Wookiee Elder. Moving on to unlabelled concept art, we have a sketch by Dave Filoni of a Malaya. Here you can see the sticky note placed on top where Dave had to make a revision to the face design after George Lucas didn't like the original version. Here is a piece of concept art showing a Wookiee riding a Malaya. Another Dave Filoni sketch shows us the inclusion of Yoda, Chewbacca and a clone captain with Yoda's markings painted on them. Chewbacca has been said to have had a big role in this story arc, with it also apparently including several references to the infamous Star Wars Holiday Special. Here is a sketch of Echo's new Bad Batch armour. There are many Kashyyyk landscape concepts showing the vastness of the planet's environment, including cliffs, ruins, and tree roots. Here we can see artwork of the Republic hoverboat mentioned before being used on what looks like a river surrounded by the forest. While there is also concept art of a high-up landing pad and tree roots over a swamp-like environment. Here is more concept art for the axes and canteens from before, as well as confirmation that young female Wookiees would have appeared. The Wookiee Elder went through multiple different design options. Dave Filoni's sketch Tarful Talk to the Trees confirms Tarful's inclusion in this story arc, and is explained as the Wookiees needed to seek permission from the trees that they have a strong connection to, so that they can burn a chunk of the forest which would help keep back the Separatist and Trandoshan forces. Here we can see a piece of concept art depicting the burning of said trees, with two clones looking on from a distance. There is also a Dave sketch of an NR-N99 Persuader class droid enforcer, more commonly referred to as a snail tank, showing they were also included in this story arc, complete with a Wookiee pelt accessory customization by a Trandoshan. We also have concept art of the interior of the snail tank, potentially confirming we would have seen one operated from the inside. We have further pieces of concept art linked in the description of the main Kashyyyk beach area from Revenge of the Sith, and two angles of a Kashyyyk landing platform on the shoreline, one showing the Havoc Marauder landed on the platform, and another showing a big Republic-like base at the end of said platform. The other piece of concept art shows us a Kashyyyk hut high up in the sky, alongside what seems to be several sections of the hut showing multiple levels and a staircase. Within this image also contains what seems to be screenshots of the actual model of this hut, in a form like we've seen in the story reels, being itself a low quality rendered version of the model without textures. At the time of the cancellation, this story arc was in the process of having its story reels created. This means that sadly the reels were never finished, also meaning, like with Dark Disciple, this story arc never got any final voice acting as heard from the temp voices in the clip we've been given. While this is the case, it is clear that the models for this story arc do exist, as well as it having a lot of concept art created for it. Part of this story arc would be about the clones and Wookiees having to learn to find some common ground so they can fight against their enemies, which I bet would have probably contained some wholesome Yoda speeches akin to the ones he had made in the first episode of Season 1. One theory I have is that this story arc would have had some sort of focus on Echo's early days in Clone Force 99, maybe with him struggling to get used to them or them struggling to accept him, with the course of the story arc being that they eventually fully accept Echo as a full member of the team by the end of the arc. Another theory I have is a potential battle which includes scenes of Yoda fighting with his signature acrobatic style, which I think would have impressed Wrecker, giving us some iconic lines of dialogue from him. I wonder if the Republic hoverboat would have been used in a pursuit sequence with the Batch or other characters in this arc using the boat to outrun jetpack droids, which could have maybe been a possible way to include the B-2 Super Rocket Trooper from the Season 6 inhibitor chip arc again. Maybe this arc could also contain some references back to Season 3's Wookiee hunt, with maybe the Trandoshans using the deaths of the many Trandoshans in that episode as a way to rally up the rest of the Trandoshan people to attack Kashyyyk with the Separatists. In the story reel clip, you can spot the original version of Echo's full Bad Batch armour, something we'd later see in the Bad Batch show itself, though interestingly, here he seems to have two full arms, something the Bad Batch show decided to not include. I will note, however, that merch tied to the Bad Batch seems to show Echo with a robotic arm that can extend outwards, potentially showing us what his arm could have been like in this story arc. Before the release of the Bad Batch episode Tribe, we didn't know the name of the Malaya or netcasters, with the latter being referred to as Kimrath considering they were based off of them. The same Bad Batch episode referenced several times that the Batch had been to Kashyyyk before, with the trivia gallery for the episode confirming it was indeed references to this unfinished story arc. Wrecker's first instinct to attack the netcasts in this episode could very well be from the experience they had with them in this unfinished story, where it seems they are attacked by the netcasts out of nowhere. Bubwa Venomore also appeared in this Bad Batch episode, making me think that he would have been arrested at the end of this unfinished story by the Republic before the Empire freed him to help them gather resources on Kashyyyk in return for letting him take revenge for the defeat he clearly suffered at the end of this story arc. Bubwa's design has since changed to include a Wookiee pelt and sleeves on his costume, while also removing the CIS logo now he's working for the Imperials. I believe the high-up Wookiee hut seen in the concept art for this story arc is the said village that the Bad Batch referred to in the episode, sadly showing that it has since been destroyed. While this story arc is one of the lesser ones I want to see due to how we have a 3-season show of The Bad Batch, seeing the sequel story in the Bad Batch Tribe episode has made me want to see it more. Especially as we only get a taste of Kashyyyk in that one episode, while this arc would allow us to spend more time there, getting even deeper lore into their culture, as well as the concept art showing us that we'd have seen many more locations. Not only that, but it would give us another good story with Yoda in, which is always a good thing in my opinion. Seeing the dynamic between Clone Force 99 and Yoda would be an interesting experience for sure, especially after they've just come from working with a very different Jedi with Anakin Skywalker. The following unfinished story arc would have continued a narrative that would have been left on a cliffhanger for 2 years. What happened to Darth Maul following the Season 5 events on Mandalore? Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please like, subscribe and comment. Until the next time, goodbye.